Well, hey everyone, welcome to Lawn Theory. Today we are giving you a special holiday episode, and I'm joined with my really good friend Spencer, who you might know as SB Mowing. Spencer, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so
We've known each other for a really long time, but we haven't done a podcast yet.
this is true. This is true. It's been in the making for what, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
A while.
Yeah. So I know you. I know kind of your backstory a little bit, and I know a lot of people probably know you for what you do now. But let's just go through and tell us a little bit about yourself. Where'd you grow up, and who is Spencer?
Yeah, so I grew up here in Wichita, Kansas. I've been born and raised here. Went to Mays schools, and yeah, I started mowing lawns when I was 10 years old. My buddy Chris and I we went out and just started knocking on doors just because we were trying to find a way to make a little bit of extra money, and yeah, it just slowly grew from there. And I kind of took it over and just slowly grew it throughout high school, and ended up getting a couple employees to help me out part time. And through college, I went to K-State and I got a computer science degree, and just continued mowing. I would drive back every weekend during the mowing season just to keep up on the routes, and then my guys would help me during the week. And so it was very hectic during college because I was trying to keep up with my classes. I was an RA, so I was working on campus, and then I would drive back every weekend basically during the mowing season to work and mow. And yeah, eventually when I graduated, I got a full-time job as a mobile app developer, and I still had my guys helping me with the business. I'd still be working on the weekends, but I finally lived in Wichita, so it was a little bit easier. And I saw some people post on social media, and I was pretty addicted to social media during the COVID times.
Everyone was.
During my last couple of years of school. And so, I would just binge watch YouTube like every night for like an hour or two. And, I would just go through everything. I've got, just creators I watch like woodworking. I like to watch like finance and investing. And then I'd like to watch lawn care and some gaming stuff too. When I used to be into video games, when I actually had time to play video games.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you get too into a business, you don't have too much time anymore. But yeah, and so I kind of got an itch to start a YouTube channel. And what a lot of people don't know is that the first YouTube channel or just social media that I started was an investing channel where I would kind of talk about investing. I took those videos down.
Yeah.
I'm kind of embarrassed of them. I don't know why. It's just kind of my first trial run. It wasn't very good, and I took those down. But eventually, I saw some people doing some lawn care, specifically Lawn Care Juggernaut and Top Notch Lawn Care. They're going out and doing free makeovers, and so whenever I was out on my route, if I saw a neighbor that kind of needed help, I'd just knock on their door and be like, "Hey, can I take care of your lawn real quick?" And they'd be like, "Yeah." And so I started filming myself doing that and posting on social media. And the crazy thing is, I posted on YouTube first, and it did okay. I got like 100 views or something like that. And I was just gonna keep doing it because it was fun. And then my girlfriend, now wife, she told me, "Hey, you need to get on TikTok. It's like going like everything's going viral on there right now. It's like super big." So I'm like, okay. And so I edited down my long form YouTube video real short to the 60-second TikTok length, and I had my mic in my apartment, and I had a roommate at the time, and so it was like midnight when I was doing this voiceover. So I was trying to be real soft. I'm like, "Hey everyone, this is Spencer with SB Mowing," and everyone thought I was trying to do some like ASMR thing, but I was just trying to be quiet so I didn't wake my roommate up.
Okay.
But yeah, she convinced me to start posting on TikTok, and my very first video on TikTok got like 6 million views and went super viral. I'm like, wow, this is cool. And I got so much feedback from it, and people were loving it. And so I just kind of got hooked on it, and I just kept uploading. And that's been a little over 3 years now. And I've uploaded every week, and I have not missed an upload yet. So it's kind of built itself into its own kind of world, which is crazy, and community, which is awesome. And, I'm really blessed to be able to do what I do right now. And I'm able to help people out. I'm able to, provide a living for myself and my family, and I do what I love and what I'm good at, what I'm an expert at. I've definitely hit my 10,000 hours to become an expert at lawn care for sure.
Yep.
I've been doing it for so long. But yeah, that's kind of my backstory for the people that don't know. But
Yeah. And let's you've given me a lot, so let's go ahead and
Yeah.
peel back the onion a little bit. So I want to go back because we were having this conversation earlier. Is you started when you were 10, which I didn't know about, and I feel like there's a really neat trend going on of people getting in and going full time as much as they can with school in the lawn landscape industry. And so when you were going through and you were knocking door to door, you're with your buddy
Chris.
Chris.
Yep.
So when you were going through and doing that, was it just in your local neighborhood trying to keep like as tight as possible? And
Yeah, mostly because we didn't have like vehicles and we couldn't
Mhm.
drive. So, we had our bikes and that
Yeah,
was it. So, wherever we could push a lawnmower to, which was, yeah, basically just our neighborhoods. So, we kind of stayed within like a little half-mile radius wherever we could push my dad's or his dad's lawnmower to actually do the work.
yeah. And so did you do the whole setup where you were towing your push mower behind the bike at some point in time,
No,
or?
we never did that. So actually, this is a funny story. The very first client that we did, Chris's dad actually had this really cheap push mower from Walmart that like it didn't even bag or anything. It was just like a mulching mower, and
Mhm.
it was a really bad mower. I don't even know what brand it was, but it was just super cheap. And we went to mow this guy's lawn at the end of the cul-de-sac or whatever for the first time. It was this older guy. His name was Mr. Herbert, actually. So funny.
Yeah.
Mr. Herbert. And yeah, so I did all the trimming and weeding on that yard, and Chris did the mowing, and it didn't have any self propel. So he's over there just pushing the mower as hard as he can through this super tall grass.
Mhm.
And yeah, so it looked horrible because it was just leaving clippings everywhere. It didn't mulch him very well at all. It just left them everywhere. And then he accidentally went halfway into the neighbor's front yard because like it was on a cul-de-sac, so it wasn't like straight lines. So like the property lines were kind of diagonal. And he went halfway through the neighbor's yard, so we ended up having to mow the neighbor's yard for free.
Yeah. So-
And the nice thing about that mistake, though, is that Mr. Herbert started letting us use his nice Honda push mower for his lawn
Yeah.
and stuff. So, but yeah, we would just push this crappy mower down the street. One guy would push the mower, one guy would hold the weed eater and the blower, and that was it. We didn't have a tow a tow behind for our bikes or anything, so that was all we were doing for a while.
Yeah. I've seen that, and it's funny to see how the lawn mowing phenomenon when you're young doesn't go away. It just kind of changes. And I've seen a lot of people with the little wagons that are hooked up
Uh
behind
huh.
it and stuff like that, so they can get to where they're going. And uniquely, it's like teaching them route density when you can't get places. And
Yeah.
so, like, how do you like stay focused on where your money's at? But then when you got into high school and you started to drive, so you started expanding from there, and it sounded like you were hiring some people. Is that right?
Yeah. So eventually, after we were getting more clients, we were starting to get more referrals a little bit outside of our little half-mile service area. So we would, my dad and his dad would take turns driving us and dropping us off in the truck and then picking us up later.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, eventually, yeah, we got our own truck. We eventually split ways, and he went to the military, and I just kind of kept on with the business. And yeah, through high school, I hired my brother as my first part-time employee. He was like in sixth grade or something like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it took a lot of teaching for sure,
Yeah.
and it was a very good learning experience for me to learn how to be a lot like pretty patient with people because once you've been mowing lawns for I don't know a few years and you get really good at it, and then you get your little sixth grade brother to
Yeah.
come in there and do the same quality as you. It takes a little bit to get him
Hmm.
to that level, but yeah, I hired my brother as a part-time worker, and he helped me out for a while, and then eventually some other high school friends that helped me part-time.
Gotcha. And so when did you kind of get the interest in software development? That-
Yeah, so I just have always kind of been a computer geek. I've always been into computers. In high school, I'd build my own gaming computer, and then my friends would want me to build their gaming computers for them,
Mhm.
and that's what we'd save up all of our money to do. And so I just kind of got into computers, and just kind of always have been. Just growing up, have always just like kind of um, just dealing with the interface and just kind of fiddling around with them. And so I knew I wanted to go into something computer wise, and I just kind of settled on software before I ended up going to K State. And so that's kind of how I got into software development.
Gotcha. And so was this? So I take it you were mowing money. so that you could build computers. I'm not mowing money. You were mowing to make money, so that you could build computers. And then when did the finance was that in high school that you started that YouTube channel, or was that your interest begin in high school?
Yeah,
Or
yeah. I think it began probably my senior year in high school, and I actually did it in my room in my parents' basement. And yeah, the lighting was horrible. It
yeah,
was bad. I'll have
hmm
to show you sometime.
yeah,
No one else will see it,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
I'll show
I'll
you.
be the witness. So, to make you feel better, when I was starting Lawn Buddy, we had to do this. We had to film a pitch, and then put it on YouTube to send it in to the judges. And I was still working in um, a office that was right up here on town doing some training stuff. And I remember I had to get this done, and I had a phone, and I had this really bad back wall, and I had to do a video pressed up against it, and I didn't have a suit that fit right.
Yeah.
And so it still exists on YouTube. I'm sure you could find it. It's not on Lawn Buddy's channel, but I'm like choking myself out, and my voice is like, "This is Steven and my ideas, Lawn Buddy." So
Have I told you about my first viral YouTube video?
no.
Okay, so this was actually it went viral on Twitter, but it was my senior year in high school. I got together a few guys, and I'm for those that don't know, I'm a big nerd about singing. I sing in a barbershop chorus right now, and I sang in choir in high school and just in church growing up, and then I sang in an a cappella group at K State. But yeah, so I've been kind of a singing nerd as well. That's one of my other nerdy things that I do, but. I got a couple of guys from the choir, and we put together a little quartet to sing "For the Longest Time" by Billy Joel.
Yeah.
But I changed the words, and we're like, "Whoa, go to prom with me." And so I did this promposal for my girlfriend, now my wife,
Mm-hmm.
and we got the whole choir to like block off the busiest part in the school. And so like everyone thought there was like a fight going on, and I had my wife's friend like push her into the middle, and then we started singing. And so yeah, that video is still out there right now. I think it got like a couple 100,000 views
Yeah.
on Twitter, and then we won a local radio contest for best promposal. And so she got like a free dress, and I got
That's
free
awesome.
tux and everything.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know if I ever told you that,
Uh-uh.
but
That's awesome.
that was my first viral video.
Yeah, that is awesome. And so now for every anniversary, do you go up and you just snap your fingers and then start singing
No,
through
but
it?
but whenever that song comes on or we hear it, we just start singing the lyrics that I made up for
Yep, yep,
it.
that's awesome. So from there, you start getting interest in finance. So when you're doing your YouTube videos on finance, did you have a specific interest in what type of finance or investing, you said?
Yeah, yeah. It was mostly investing, like just different accounts, different ways to keep your money from having to pay taxes or whatever. Newer stuff like crypto. I did a crypto video in like 2018, I
Oh,
think.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. My uncle actually tried to convince me to mine Bitcoin. I think it was 2013 or 2014, and I tried to do it. I just didn't have enough knowledge or resources to actually figure it out, and I wish I did.
Yeah.
But actually, yeah, I tried to do it, but yeah, it's just basic investing and just overall uh, just wealth building through compound interest and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's super awesome. I think I told you, one of my friends, he around the same time frame, 2017, 2018, got into mining Bitcoin
Oh
at the
yeah.
time and had so many units in his basement that he didn't have to heat his home during the winter.
Hey, it's a win-win, right?
Yeah, win-win. And he's now bought multiple buildings in downtown Wichita with all from money he's made from crypto.
Wow.
Which is really interesting. Um, I don't know if you could do that right now, but he did it then.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
That's awesome.
hmm And so now let's jump forward. And so you're in high school and then you go to K State, correct? And so
Yep.
you're still having the crew essentially in Wichita Mo, and then you're coming back on the weekends to oversee that, or
Yeah, so they were mowing probably 2 or 3 days a week. And then I would come home on Saturday and do a route on my own while they also did a route on Saturday. So just kind of coming back to oversee it, keep up with maintenance, could just kind of run the business.
yeah. And were you strictly doing maintenance at that point in time, or are you guys getting into mulch work and cleanups and what's Wichita? So you're always doing
Yeah,
fall and spring
we
cleanups,
were
but
mostly just doing maintenance. That's what I kind of specialized in. I really like just the recurring, every week going and getting, showing up at a lawn for 15 minutes and getting your $50 or whatever, $60. And I really liked that. If I could go back, I would really get into, keep that as the consistent earner and, get into some big jobs like landscaping jobs
yeah.
and maybe some more hardscaping stuff too, and really learn how to do that and get good at that.
Yeah. So was high school and college, Spencer, did you enjoy taking care of overgrown properties as much as you do now?
Mm, I didn't do it as much,
Yeah.
obviously. I wasn't like on the hunt for them. Now I am.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's always satisfying edging up a sidewalk and uncovering
Yeah.
it, or something of that nature, or just running your mower through 5 foot tall grass and
Yeah.
chopping it all down. But yeah, I've always loved doing overgrown lawns. I've gotten way better at it in the last few years. I mean, I've gotten so much time just like that's all I do now is just go find crazy overgrown lawns and just cut them. So I've gotten really good at it recently.
Yeah. Now, when you go through there, and this is just an aside, on your mower now, do you start your deck high and then slowly work low, or do you just blow into it and see
I
what happens?
I just blow into it.
Yep.
Like I'm already cutting the super overgrown lawns at 4 inches.
Yeah.
So it's like, the decks go up to 5 inches. So it's not that much that you're
Mm-hmm.
taking off. So I just drop it down to where I
Yep.
put it every time, just blow
Let it
through
rip.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let it rip.
That's full send. So then you're coming back and you graduate, and then do you go straight into full-time lawn care business owner mode, or are you working on the side? Or because you said it was 2020 around the pandemic when your channel really started growing, right?
Um, that's when I was really addicted to YouTube. It was 2021 when I started the channel.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I started in fall 2021. So I had like uh this 5 month gap between when I graduated and when I started the channel, SB Mowing. And so I was actually an intern at a place called Groove Health. It's called Every Dose now. And I did mobile development. And so I was an intern for the last semester of school. And then I came on full time with them. And so I was full time for a while. And so I was, working 40 hours a week doing that. And then just kind of doing the same thing. Doing my route on the weekend, and then I do maintenance in the evenings on the weekend or whatever.
Yep.
And then my guys would run their same routes during the day. So it was basically the same thing that I was doing. I was still trying to grow my business at that point, the lawn mowing business on the side, but I was really focusing on the mobile development because at that point the lawn care business was kind of running itself.
Yeah. And was that around the time we met, or was it before that? I want to say it was 20. It was right before the pandemic, or maybe right after. I can't remember.
I think it was like right after.
Yeah,
It was that first time I went to GIE.
that's right. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Because you and
when
Adam Devine
Adam.
and
Yeah.
Lawn Care Juggernaut were.
Yep. Yeah, Lawn Care Juggernaut just called like after my first video went viral on YouTube, he called me up. He's like, "Hey, this is super cool. Like congrats. I'm actually picking this guy up in Wichita to go to the big lawn mowing expo. You want to go?" I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And my my wife was like, "Are you sure you want to go with these random strangers across the country to some convention? You're gonna stay with them and everything. You're not gonna get like kidnapped or anything?" I'm like, I'll probably be fine. He's an
Yeah.
online personality. At least people know who he is,
Yep.
So, yeah, that was the first time I met them. And then, yeah, Adam introduced me to you at GIE.
Yeah. Because you guys drove up there in like a Buick, didn't you? Like a Buick town car.
Oh, what was it? No, it was a Ford, the cop cars that they
Oh,
have.
that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. And it was because
It literally looked exactly like one of the cop cars. What are those? The Ford Expeditions or something? Or
yeah, it's the car though, not the SUV. It's one of their cruisers. I'm
yeah,
blanking on what it is, but yeah, I just remember seeing you guys roll up
yeah.
to the back at the Equip Expo one year. Was that pretty comfortable to drive to
Yeah.
Louisville? And yeah,
I was actually working remote, so
Yep.
I was working the whole way up there.
Yeah.
So yeah, just doing development stuff.
Yep.
So I didn't have to take extra days off.
yeah, yep. Smart. You can do that from wherever.
Yeah.
So then you go to Equip, and then you launch your channel full time. And was it kind of like the fire hydrant, you know, like your first video went viral and then it was like, hey, I'm going to go into this full bore, or was it kind of like the trickle of meeting certain benchmarks and then you're going to take the leap into
Well, it was
content?
tough. So I really wanted to go full bore, and I was ready to, but it was, it was the end of summer. It was September, or yeah, it was October at that point. And so, winter was coming. We didn't have any grass growing in Wichita. So I'm like, okay, what am I gonna do for the whole winter? Like, so I did some. I actually quit my job as a developer, and I was doing contract work for them instead. So I did that kind of during the winter while I was doing some other small YouTube stuff and some pressure washing stuff I started. And then, yeah, that spring is when I really went just balls to the wall, just full out
Yep.
social media and just working my butt off at
Hmm.
that point.
And was the growth primarily on TikTok still, or you were seeing it through?
It was TikTok and YouTube at that point. Once the first TikTok video went off, I think, I don't know if somehow all the social media platforms are just connected a little bit, but yeah, once my first TikTok video went off, the second YouTube video I posted was just crazy, and it's the second most viewed video I have still.
Yeah.
Is the second video I ever posted, and it's really bad. I look back on, I'm like, man, why did people watch this? Like, it's so boring.
Yeah. So what advice would you have for people? So here's the interesting thing is, a lot of our audience, a lot of our customers, right? They're business owners that are in the lawn landscape industry, but they're trying to create that content that appeals to homeowners.
Hmm.
And then sometimes you'll get a little bit of a crossover when they want to do reviews on equipment or
Yep.
whatever, so they can educate their peers. What kind of advice do you have for people who are trying to create content just to gain more traction in maybe what they're doing currently or their passion is? And I know we've talked a little
In
bit
their lawn
about
care business,
in their
maybe.
lawn care business. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot different from what I do, because obviously I'm putting my content out there to reach everybody. So if you're putting content out there specifically to reach new customers as a lawn care business owner, or landscaping owner, or just service business owner in general, I think the best way to do it is just put content out there consistently, high quality content that makes you look super professional. So that when somebody's trying to decide between certain contractors or certain companies to do the work for them, when they see you, they're watching your videos, you're already a trusted person because they're seeing what you're doing. They're seeing the really good work that you're putting out there. So if you've already got a portfolio of that out there, when they're searching up your name, like, that's going to be so good for your business. And it's not even just getting them, um, getting people in your town or service area directly through those videos, because those videos will be recommended out to people all around you. So once they see those videos, or if it's people that are searching you up or searching up your type of service and finding those videos, it's just really going to help build that kind of trusted name for you. So just being super consistent, high quality videos, and don't worry about the views.
Yeah.
Like if you just put out one video a week, two videos a week, three videos a week, however many you want to do or can do, just do it.
Yeah.
And it's just unreal, the amount of business and revenue that social media can drive.
Yeah. And there's the adage that perception is reality. And I think so when I started Lawn Buddy, it was we had first moved here, working armed security in the evenings and going to school at WSU full time,
Hmm.
and coming from Wyoming, like you could mow once a month and you'd be fine. And here was different. I always joke that if you let it go 2 weeks, Chris Pratt would show up in your backyard to wrangle some velociraptors.
Nice.
And so trying to contract with business owners at the time was Craigslist. That's where I was going to find someone was Craigslist, because
Yep.
Facebook Marketplace wasn't really a thing at the time.
That's where I
And
started doing some little advertising and posts when I ran my lawn care business to try to get clients. Yeah, I got the decent amount of clients from Craigslist too.
yeah, I got a lot of folks to connect with me through Craigslist. I didn't get a lot of people to actually show up. And so when you were going through and I was picking folks, there you didn't really have some folks had photos on it, and that's what I would gravitate towards, because to your point, they had content that I could validate
Yeah.
that they're at least a professional-ish
Yeah.
business. And so that perception is reality. I don't know how many people I passed over because I didn't have anything.
Yeah. Right.
Just because I was like, I just want someone to show up and do a good job.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I think in our industry, we do a bad job of showing people that we'll show up and do a good job, and we'll
Yeah.
answer the phone, and we'll be there in a timely manner. It may not be exactly when you want us to show up, but
Yeah.
we'll be there when we need to get there.
Yeah.
And so I love that consistent posting and making it look professional. So
Yeah, and it's nice because social media works for you. Like over time, like those videos are going to pay themselves off like pretty quickly and multiple times over because like you can only go knock on so many doors, or you need to hire so many employees to go knock on doors and hand out door hangers or whatever. And social media, you can just post a video and get out to an unlimited amount of people basically.
yeah, yeah, you have digital door hangers. Did I ever tell you the story about me hanging door hangers?
No.
So the when Lawn Buddy first started, right, I was trying to build the trust with business owners, and so I went and worked in the field for a year. So I
Oh,
partnered with
nice.
my neighbor, Chad, and I was the software per se. I had a big desk calendar, and
Yeah.
like I would organize everything, and then I'd go and I'd help, and I'd work in the field, and part of it was marketing. And I remember I ordered so many door hangers, and I would just go to doors and I'd leave door hangers, and on like the 50th house, I was like, there's a better way. And so I didn't think social media immediately, but I immediately went to child labor. And my other next door neighbor had a bunch of kids, and I was like, I'll give you
That's the
50
backbone of
bucks.
every small business. No, I'm just kidding.
I'll give you 50 bucks. Tell the kids to go hang all these up. No one's gonna say no to a kid. Like,
Yeah.
so I really wish I would have focused on digital door hangers, of creating that content to get in front of them, because um, I learned a lot of lessons working in the field, but that was probably one of the biggest ones. Is um, sometimes the traditional marketing isn't the most effective marketing.
Yeah, and I actually have a funny story about door hangers. Every time that I go to order door hangers or just something like business cards, just some printable, I always get sucked in by the, oh, 500 is way cheaper per unit than 100 or whatever.
Mhm.
And I always buy way too much, and my wife gets really mad at me. I've got like boxes of door hangers down there that
Yep.
I've just never used. Just and I think I ordered 1,000 door hangers one time. I still have most of them in the box.
Yeah. Our first year going to Equip, this is so you learn so many things, but for some reason, our first year going to Equip, we had an itty bitty booth, like a little 10 by 10 thing. And we said, you know what people want? They'll want pens and notepads from a technology company. And so we ordered, and we did that same thing. We fell into the trap of, hey, the show is saying there's going to be like 30,000 people who come here, and so we need
Hmm.
30,000 pens. And the moral of the story is, if you need pens, I've got you. I will mail you pens for free. I have so many Lawn Buddy pens. I think we still have probably close to 15,000
Oh my
pens
gosh.
in storage.
You
We
got pens for life, I
yeah,
guess.
yeah. And so but it's just those little things that you learn, because I got sucked into the same trap. I
Yeah.
was like, we'll just get a bulk discount and we'll
Yeah,
buy
right?
all these
It
pens.
gets
So,
me every
yep,
time.
yep. And so now you've went into creating content full time, and you've kind of figured out the formula that works. Actually, I want to mention one more thing before we go into that. You had mentioned a book to me a few weeks ago, from Gary Vee, called Day Trading Attention. And I typically don't really enjoy Gary Vee books, but this one was really good. And I think it gets into what you were talking about with your social media content and posting, and doing that. So thank you for that book
Yeah,
recommendation.
I loved it. I felt like that book, when you're like in business building mode, like you just have so many ideas running through your head. Like when I'm getting in the shower, I just have so many ideas running through my head. Or like when I'm driving long distances, I'm just constantly thinking of something. Or just laying in bed trying to sleep, I feel like I just get a new idea. I feel like he did a really good job of just like putting all these like ideas and thoughts that I had about just the social media and marketing space into a book. And like I was like listening to him, like, man, like people ask me to explain some of this stuff, and I do a really bad job sometimes. Like I'm not a public speaker or anything, and I just listen to this book. I'm like, man, if anyone asks me like any of these questions, I'm just like, read this book. It literally took my brain and laid it out on some
Yeah.
paper.
Yep. It was phenomenal. Thank you for that recommendation. Um, And in you talking about that, it reminds me of a saying I say, that entrepreneurs have rose-colored glasses. We see
Hmm.
opportunity in absolutely everything, and
Yeah.
we have great ideas all the time. Um, and I'll tell on myself a little bit here because it's a Lawn Buddy Easter egg that nobody knows about. I'm pretty sure they haven't found it, but so in the very beginning of Lawn Buddy, there was this word called gamification. I'm sure you remember
Yep.
that when you can
Mm-hmm.
gamify an app.
Yep.
And so one of my brilliant shower ideas was we need to put a game in the app. That'll get people to want to come and use it more as if there was a game. And we launched the first version of it in the wintertime, so for snow removal companies. So
Yeah.
if they were doing snow removal and lawn care, like we've always been built for both. It's actually why there's blue in the logo, blue and
Oh
green.
wow.
And so so with that, the game was a rendition of Snake, but it was for snow removal. So it was
Oh.
someone with a little
Oh,
snow plow
nice.
going around and doing Snake. And it was a horrible idea, but we kept it in there. And so I'll have to send you the link to.
Yeah.
It's still baked into Lawn Buddy that there's
Oh, really?
yeah, there's on web only.
Okay.
There's a little Easter egg where you can play the horrible version of Snake.
I've actually had thoughts recently about an SB Mowing video game, like mobile app would be so cool.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't even know exactly how it would be, go mow tall grass, make money and,
Mm-hmm.
upgrade your mower or whatever.
Yep.
I thought that'd be kind of cool, but I don't know if that'll ever be a thing.
I've got somewhere you can start. I've got.
That's right.
the-
Yeah. I'll
the-
start building off of that.
Yeah. So but yeah, so that's an interesting note. But so as you're continuing to scale the channel, then what are some things that I always think it's really nice to talk about from the perception is reality, right? And so like what we said, you want to look professional, but it's not always easy. Have you faced some challenges as you've been growing your channel that have made you a better human or a better business owner as you're going through just from mistakes you've made?
Oh yeah. Oh man. Yeah, there's so many. I think the best thing that I've learned is that you just need to put the time into something and not expect it to be perfect. Just know that it's a work in progress. Because if you go watch some of my old videos, like as I was saying, like they're really bad. Like they're bad. Like if you go to my YouTube channel and go to my first 10 videos and watch some of them, like I don't know why anyone ever started watching my videos. And so just knowing that if you can put the time forth to learn something, and it's not gonna be quick. It's gonna take a lot of time and a lot of hard work. And this applies to anything in life. You can really become good at anything. And I think of that with anything like musical instruments, coding, um, uh, doing media production and making videos. So yeah, I encourage everyone to go check out my videos from my first 10 YouTube videos, and then go watch a video now and just see the quality difference. And that's not something that happened overnight. It's something that took 3 years. And every few videos, I would say, oh, I can make this tweak to make it a little bit better. And I just kept tweaking videos, every few videos, just kept tweaking different things. And I got it to a product that I really like and that people really enjoy watching. And I think that's a big component of just success in general is, just making tweaks to things, making whatever you're working on a little bit better every time you do it. And, after years of working on it, it's going to be really good and you're going to be really good at it.
Yep. I love that. We were at lunch earlier today, and I was having lunch with one of my mentors before this Thanksgiving break, and one of the things I was talking to him about is that Lawn Buddy turns 9 next year, this coming spring, and it's easy to see where we're at now and not see all the work and the blood, sweat, and tears that were kind of built in it throughout the way. And I told him a story that I had never told anyone, and it gave me maybe the confidence to say it now. But I related it to an experience I had when I was in the Marine Corps. And so are you familiar with Marine Corps boot camp at all? And the thing called the Crucible at the end?
No.
Yeah. So the Crucible is basically a 3-day, almost no sleep test.
Do you go out to the field and for 3 days?
Yeah. Out in the field, you're just doing really crazy physical and mental tasks. And it's your final test to become a Marine. And at the very end, you have this big mountain that you have to go and hike that they call the Reaper. And you have to ascend it to become a Marine. And typically what happens is you stay with your, I'll call it your unit or your platoon, right? The group that you're with, the class that you're with, you're going up. And then if
Mhm.
you're hurt, you start to fall back.
Mhm.
And as you fall back, there's a lot of people who become, they just quit, right? They quit,
Mm.
they go seek medical, and they're out. It was, I wish I could tell people that I was with the main group, but
Yeah.
the reality was, I had fractured 3 of my fingertips during a pugil stick exercise where they're
Jeez.
simulating fighting with rifles. And I had fallen on one of the obstacle courses, and I had torn my labrum. And you're weighted down with your pack, right? And so
Mhm.
this entire time going up the Reaper, like I'm getting a
Oh,
tremendous amount
jeez.
of weight pulled on my pack, and normally you grab it with your hands to pull it down, but I had fractured the tips of my
Oh,
fingers. And you don't report it because then you'll get cycled back, and I didn't want to do
yeah.
that. And so I fell back with a gentleman named Piggy. That was his name. And um,
Was that a nickname or was that his
no, that
name?
was his real last name.
Oh, last name. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so so everyone is surpassing us, and you're seeing people drop out all around you and just quit. And it's so tempting to just want to quit when you're going up the mountain. And I was there. I wanted to quit. But we encouraged each other along the way to keep going and keep pushing. And I remember we were like three quarters of the way up, and I was telling my mentor, I was like, we were praying out loud, but it was really like I was just like yelling at God, like help
Yeah.
me. And we made it. So we did ascend, and we got there, but we both wanted to quit, but we had each other to encourage us along the way. And I was telling them this because in business, it's the same thing. As we hit an obstacle, we hit an off season, we hit, any of these things, and you want to quit and you want to
Mhm.
give up because it's easy. There's like
Yeah.
an easy button, and like I can end this
Mhm.
temporary pain, but you have this core group of people that are around you to help encourage you and help push you. And in business, man, I tell you, my wife is worth her weight in gold. And then the mentors and friends that you surround yourself with, is super, super important. And that kind of just reminded me of what we were just talking about, and like
Yeah.
knowing that, like, hey, it may be hard and you want to quit, but just keep focused on your mountain and keep climbing up, because no one's going to see the climb.
Yeah.
Sounded like
No
Miley
one will.
Cyrus right there. No one's going
Are
to
you gonna
see
sing it
that.
for us?
Yeah, maybe. Well, that's maybe
No,
you'll
I'm not
just,
gonna sing.
yeah, open up in a
I
tune.
set myself up for
Yeah,
it.
but like no one's gonna see the climb. They're gonna see you on top of the mountain. And
Yeah.
so,
Do you have any first first version Lawn Buddy like UI pictures or anything?
oh, it's horrible, dude. Like it's so bad.
You should post that on social media
Yep.
like 9 years ago or 8 years ago or whatever and today.
Yeah.
And because people don't see that. I'll never see
Hmm.
that unless you do that. So
Yeah.
I think that'd be super cool to
Yeah.
see.
I'll post it. We actually, I used to post it every anniversary, but I haven't in the last couple of years. But when we first did our graphic, like I said, we launched in the wintertime.
Hmm.
And another one of my great ideas, right, was, let's do something very non-traditional. And the graphic was Albert Einstein as a snowman on the moon. And the slogan is, if we could put a man on the moon, we can change the lawn landscape industry. Which is horrible. Looking back on it, I was like, what was I thinking? This does not describe your product at all. Like business management for lawn care is nowhere in there. But yeah, I'll have to post it because it's glorious. And then just also the UI UX of the actual product itself was like a toy truck. Like,
like like when you just throw it together to make it work, and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
about it.
yeah. The MVP. You gotta make that minimum viable product. But yeah,
Yep.
I'll have to post it up. So because yeah, yours is just out there for everyone to see.
Yeah.
Go back in time,
Well,
except for the finance
yeah,
videos.
I took those down.
Yeah. But yeah, I'll put it up. I'll put the clip in this show. We'll put it here, and then I'll also post it on social media so people can see that. And so
That'll
the
be good.
yeah. So now that we know kind of how you grew to where you are, I know that there's more to Spencer than just your channel. And so what are things, I know you said that you like to sing in the barbershop quartet, but what are some other things that you enjoy to do just now, at the stage of life you're in today?
Oh man, right now. Oh, there's so much. I feel like I'm just busy all the time with stuff I want to
Mhm.
do. I'm big into vehicles and cars and older cars. Actually, I bought a 1989 Corvette for
Ooh,
$6,000 when I was 16 years old. It was my first car with all mowing money, and I always wanted a C3 Corvette as a kid,
yeah,
as like my first car, but they're way too expensive for me at the time. And so I'm like, okay, I like the C4s. I'll get those. Those are more my
yeah.
price range. So I got that as my first car, and I actually ended up blowing the motor within like a few months of owning it. And so my dad and my grandpa helped me pull out the motor, and I had to spend another 6 months to a year saving up money to pay to have it rebuilt, and we did a bunch of other stuff and put it back in. So that's where I learned a lot about automotive and just cars in general and how they work and how to work on them. And if I don't know something, I just look it up on YouTube.
Yeah. Yep.
but um, but yeah, I'm big into cars. I'm big into singing. I'm in a barbershop chorus and quartet. It's called the Smorgas Chorus.
That's awesome.
If you guys ever want to go look it up, I'm on YouTube singing somewhere.
Mhm.
But yeah, we go and we compete internationally. We just got back from Cleveland in July, and we just got back competing. I think we got like 20th in the world or something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then we go and compete in district every fall. So we just got back from Lawrence doing that, and yeah, we have a Christmas show coming up, and so yeah, we get together and rehearse every week, and that's really fun because it's just a lot of guys that love music that aren't necessarily doing music professionally. There's a lot of choir directors. There's probably 4 or 5 different choir directors in the chorus, but we've got 50 guys, and all other 45 are just random professions. Aging ranging from ages of like 16 to I think like 80 something or something like that. And so it's cool to be able to get with a ton of different guys from different backgrounds and have this joint interest and love for music and just be able to sing together. And so that's something I've been really big into for the last couple of years. But I know we've talked about wanting to do some like homesteading stuff.
Yeah.
I've definitely wanted to get into homesteading. I've watched a ton of YouTube videos on everything homestead wise, like land clearing, honeybees. I've
Yeah.
watched tons of YouTube videos on honeybees, just everything. And so my wife and I are looking for land right now. We're gonna take our time. We want something just perfect.
Yep.
But yeah, a dream of mine is just to have this family farm slash homestead where we can have this huge garden and a ton of land to where I can shoot on or fish on if I want to, if we have a little pond, or just take the kids out on a 4-wheeler or something. I
Yep.
think that'd be really fun. But yeah, I've been really into kind of researching homesteading and um, actively looking for land to hopefully start that
Yeah.
lifestyle eventually. I don't know when that's going to
Yep.
happen. Hopefully sometime in the next 5 years. It's so hard to find the right piece of land that's not 2 hours away from a Walmart,
Yeah. Yep.
we want to be within 15, 20 minutes of stuff. So it's hard to find something like that, and they don't go for sale often. And when they do, they're expensive, and yeah, it's hard to find. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been into lately. And then just kind of growing the channel, and just spaces like I've been having a guy dub Spanish for me for a while, and so you can enjoy all my content in Spanish if you're a Spanish speaker. And then I'm working on other languages currently, and hopefully people can enjoy my content in 10 different languages,
Yep.
and we can just expand our audience just that much more because India has twice the amount of YouTube viewers that the US has. So it's
Yeah.
like it's just crazy how big the world is outside of the US. I feel like
Mhm.
sometimes we're so confined to ourselves here, and it just seems like we're kind of the whole world
Yeah.
sometimes. And
Yep.
especially if you don't travel a lot and have gone abroad a lot, and had that culture shock, which I've never had that culture shock.
Yeah.
So I've been to Italy once when I was 2 because we have family there, but I remember like 1 or 2 things from it, and that's it. So yeah, just working on kind of expanding my channel out that way. And it's wintertime, so it's slow. It's
Yeah.
it's the chill season.
Yep. Yep. We'll have to take you Peru to we'll have to take you to Peru.
Oh, that'd be cool.
So we went down to Peru 2022, just looking for some work stuff, and I took the family with me. and I hadn't had that culture shock since the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we land, and it's a whole different world when all of a sudden no one speaks English. And then you're in a downtown airport where you have like busted up motorcycles and rickshaws and people almost getting hit and police yelling at you in foreign languages, and it's really humbling. And then when you even get out of the city and you go to stuff like that, but we'll have to take it. It was also fun. It was probably one of the coolest
That's
experiences as a
cool.
family
Yeah,
that we've done.
my wife and I went to the Dominican
Yeah,
last year. So that's the only like, but we did spend a lot of time on a resort.
yeah,
So, but the time that we didn't spend on a resort, it was, trying to find our ride from the airport to the resort. And it was like being bombarded by people trying to get you to pay them to give you a ride.
yeah,
And then we went through the countryside. We did this little like dune buggy tour. It was cool, and we went through the countryside and just kind of going through these villages and just all these families having their kids work on the 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 people doing these tours, and they'll bring you flowers, trying to get you to give them some money for it and stuff. And the tour guide actually said, "Hey, don't give these kids money because their parents are actually keeping them out of school so that they can,
yeah.
every day
Hmm.
be doing this to try to make money." And so that was kind of a little bit of a culture shock for me, but I haven't been like thrown into it yet. I think, yeah, I need to go to like Peru or something and
Yeah.
really be thrown into it. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, so the other thing too is one of the boards I sit on is called Fidelis Outreach, and they take primarily education supplies to developing countries. They have a mission coming up in April to Jamaica, as well as another one to somewhere. I think they're identifying an area in South America. But the nice thing is when you go and work and volunteer for the nonprofits is it's a tax deduction.
Oh yeah.
And so you can leverage it and do that. So I'll have to get you more information on that.
You
They
know
just pretty.
everything.
I don't know everything. I just know some cool people. But yeah. So that
I feel like every time I talk to you, I just learn something new.
no, I'm full of useless knowledge that sometimes helps. And then back to homesteading, and I could go way deep into this. I know we were talking. Your HOA is a little bit more strict than. Oh, I just skirt rules in mine,
Yep.
but and do micro homesteading. But we're actually looking to do the exact same thing. Is how do you get out and do that? Because I grew up on 80 acres
Oh,
on a
nice.
ranch in Wyoming, a little hobby ranch in Wyoming, and I think it's just really good for me personally, for Samuel, for my son to have a little bit of that responsibility. He has that now with our chickens, and when we had our bees before,
Hmm.
um, the colony was killed by killer Russian bees.
The
Um,
Russians.
yeah, yeah, I know it's crazy. And so it just is a whole fascinating world. When did you start getting interested in that?
Oh man, it's probably just it's two things. I've gotten interested in it from watching different YouTube channels. There's this one guy called Nate Petrosky. I don't know if you've seen him. He's got he goes and does homesteading life to the point where he's almost completely self-sustainable, like everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I want to go that far. Like I want to go halfway there.
Yep.
I want to do some things,
Hmm.
but I also want to have modern conveniences as well. But I've been watching him a lot, and then just the feeling of just having the freedom of I want to walk naked in my backyard if I want to.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
can,
And no one's gonna see
and
you.
my neighbors not
Yeah.
see me.
Yep.
So yeah, just kind of having it's just kind of that drive for freedom for me,
Yep.
just having that freedom of just having this massive plot of land where maybe you can't even see the neighbor's
Yep.
property at all,
Hmm.
like that'd be nice. And just you know I don't want to be a recluse,
Yep.
but it'll be nice kind of having my own kind of homestead, and then have a place where we can have people over and have them come fishing,
Yep.
or just have them come join us, or and maybe I've seen a lot of people doing like those family compound things
Yeah.
where someone will buy a huge piece of land, and then they'll grandparents will live over in this corner, and we'll live over in this corner, but we're always near each other, but we have our our own
Yep.
separate thing. So I thought that's kind of cool too. But yeah, this is it's in the future for sure, but I'm really excited for it now.
Yeah. Have you seen the nuclear silo homesteads that are happening
I
here in
I've
Kansas?
seen
Those
those.
are
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, there's a and then I've seen those ones where they turn them into a bunch of different condos that you can buy
Mhm.
as like a fallout shelter.
Yep.
And
Yep. Over by Lawrence. Yeah.
yeah, and
So
they sell quick too,
yep.
and they're expensive.
Yeah, like I think it was like $1.2 million for a small, like
Yeah.
1 or 2 bedroom condo in this fallout shelter thing. The other one that's she's here in Wichita and um is Bree Ellis. Do you know who that is? So she
I
does a
feel like
gardening channel that's pretty big.
I've heard of the name.
Hmm.
Yeah, the name rings a bell.
Yeah, and I can't remember what the name of her channel is, but it goes on both extremes, right? So you have people who have a bunch of acreage, and then you have people who live in downtown suburban
Yeah.
area that regenerate the soil and stuff like that, like we've done. But it's just fascinating. And then the other thing, and how this ties back in the lawn landscape industry, is you see a lot of regulation in Florida right now
Mm.
for fertilizer.
Oh
And
yeah.
so one of the things that I was thinking about doing is so we at our home, we do a lot of composting. And so
Hmm.
just because it's free fertilizer.
Yeah.
And so
Just with all your food scraps and stuff,
food
and
scraps or even with the stuff from the garden. And what you
oh
can
yeah.
really do it with is grass clipping. So what a lot of people do,
Mm,
right,
yeah.
is they typically haul them off and take them to the dump. But if you have
You're supposed to like layer the grass clippings in there, aren't
yeah,
you?
and
Yeah.
so you do browns and greens, and so you basically take dead things and things that are recently dead, and so
Nice.
and you stack them, and so with that you can turn it into compost, which is fertilizer.
Hmm.
And so in Florida, it's heavily regulated right now with fertilization applications. Right, they're probably I can't remember what county it is in Florida, but it's one of the most heavily regulated counties in the United States. And there's a bunch of data you have to pull in, like weather conditions, the brand, the specific chemicals you applied, the time. Like
Hmm.
it's super regulated. And so how people are getting around that is they're going backwards, right? And they're going to compost, and then they're
Hmm.
top dressing with compost. And so
Okay.
my buddy Nick at Mulchmate, a good chunk of his units are going down there just to do top dressing with compost. And so it's an emerging trend that you get around the fertilizer rules and regulations, and you can still fertilize a customer's property.
Oh,
And
nice.
ironically, they end up making more money because you have to do more applications. So
Oh.
traditional granular liquid fertilizer, right? You can do it once a quarter, versus if you're top dressing with compost, you're going out twice a quarter.
Oh,
But you
wow.
can charge the same
Yeah.
per application, and so you're actually making more money using top dressing. And so as I was out working in the garden this past weekend and making compost, I was like, this would be so easy for business owners to just dump their
Yeah,
clipping, find
bring
a
all their clippings back.
yeah, and they you don't need a huge area because it goes from a big pile to a small pile in a week because it
Oh,
heats
yeah.
up to like 150 degrees,
Oh,
and then
geez.
it starts just composting on itself.
Mhm.
And there's different methods, and within a month you have fertilizer that you can go sell to people and throw
That's
on there,
crazy.
or you can use it in your gardens or whatever. And
Yeah, my parents used, um when they were doing their front garden beds, my neighbor had some extra manure,
yep,
and so they put it on one side, and they didn't put it on the other side. All the plants, the exact same plants, are way bigger on that
yep,
side too than the other side. It's crazy,
yep,
and this is like 15 years later.
yeah. Was it cow manure or horse
Yeah, it
manure?
was cow manure.
Yep. So there's cow. When I was younger, so we've always had horses, and what you do in the spring once mud season's done, right, is you take your bobcat and then you scrape up all the stuff from winter,
Hmm.
all the horse crap. And what we'd have is we had so many people that were willing to come and load up their truck and take it away for free. And it always blew my mind. It's like, what are people doing with this horse crap? But they were using it for their gardens because the
Yeah.
same thing. And if you go to Home Depot or anything, and for those of you who are gardeners, you know exactly what we're talking about. Is you make some manure in with your compost and dirt, and like miracle grow.
Yeah.
And it's crazy the amount of yield you can get from it. But yeah, just thinking about how all the stuff that you typically would envision in a lawn and landscape company, how you can kind of flip it on its head and make old new again, which is
Yeah.
what I think is the new trend that's coming back, like with homesteading, is
Oh,
making the
yeah.
old new again. And how can you have efficiencies? Like with our chickens, people tell me all the time, I don't have time for chickens. And I'm like, I spend less than 5 minutes a day with the chickens because I've
Really?
automated everything.
Yeah.
And so I spent the time to do the work initially, and I made the old new. And so we have our chicken coop, but
What's your 5 minute daily routine with the chickens?
I go out and collect the eggs, and I make sure they have food and water.
Nice.
And I have a big gravity feeder for the chickens, and so I'll take it back. Once once or twice a month, I'll go out and I'll spend maybe call it 15 minutes to an hour max, depending on what the chore is to do for it. Um, Filling up their feeder and water because I have big gravity fed feeders and waters to where
Nice.
I don't have to go out and feed them and water them every day. And then in the
Yeah.
wintertime, I have a heating plate that keeps their water from freezing.
Oh yeah.
And then all I'm doing is going out and collecting eggs. And then with the door, typically where people like don't like it is you have to go shut the chicken coop door at night.
Every night. Yeah.
And if you forget about it, then well, that's when raccoons and possums and stuff go, and
Eat them.
now you're the bad neighbor with feathers everywhere, which I've been. I've made mistakes, and um, but I automated it with an automatic chicken coop door that is
Is it
combining.
based on the sunset and sunrise?
Yep.
Or?
And so I've got a sensor that's hooked up on the front of the door. And so based on the sunrise and sunset, the door will open and close. And there's a monitor at the front to make sure that all chickens are in. So it's like a little counter. And then it also makes sure it doesn't shut on a chicken.
Oh yeah.
And then on the inside, I have security cameras set up everywhere on the
Nice.
inside. And then
Do you have them on your phone right now?
I do.
Can we see them?
Yeah. They're not going to be in the coop, but I'll pull it up for you.
You also do a little screen recording and show show
yeah.
them what it looks like with
Yeah.
the chickens in the coop.
Good idea. Do you do content at all? Yeah, that was a great idea. I'll do a screen recording real quick, and we'll go to Wise. Let's see here. So that's a still from last night.
Oh, nice.
And we'll see if it connects. There you go.
So you got multiple cameras.
Oh yeah, I've got multiple
Oh,
cameras. In there.
nice.
And then right here to the right is forced air. And so in the summer times when it gets really hot, what they can do is they can stop laying as frequently. And so I've got forced air to go in there to have at least circulate. It's not air conditioned or heated,
Yeah.
but it'll circulate air inside of there. And so then I'm reducing my amount of upfront work
Yeah.
by when I built as what my wife calls the chicken Taj Mahal.
Is it really nice?
I still need to insulate it, but it still stays around 50 degrees in there even at night when it's in the 30s.
Wow.
So it's not anything. I just put more straw on the ground,
Yeah.
not on the ground, on the floor because it's elevated. And then I have a bunch of purchase for them, but yeah, it's the same thing in business or in life as if you take the time to measure twice and cut once and do the work up front and then constantly evaluate where you're at.
It'll pay for itself in the long run.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And the great example is I replaced the chicken coop door from the older model, which was 3 years old, to the newest one. And now I get alerts on my phone when everyone's in and the door's shut. And I'm like, now I
That's
can go on
crazy.
vacation and I don't have to worry, like, did the door shut?
So what if they're not in, or do they pretty much go in every day?
They go in. They're
Yeah.
like, when they're younger, you have to train them, which is annoying. So it's harder then of like, you got to pick the chickens up and throw them in the coop.
Yeah.
But eventually probably within a week, they get the idea of like, oh, home is in here.
Yeah.
And so then they go in. If you're raising them from chicks and you leave them in there and then you slowly let them outside, you never have to worry about that. But
Oh, okay.
if you're doing what a lot of people do, they're typically buying laying hens already. And so it's called a pullet, which is a young hen. And so you'll have to teach them where to go because they're just stressed.
And what's the lifespan on one of those?
It depends on the breed. But I want to say 6 years. I know 3 to 4, they'll produce your eggs pretty regularly. And so like, we buy produce from the same farm, so Jayco. They typically will keep the chickens for 3 to 5 years, and then they'll sell them to other homesteaders just because they go off lay, and so they're not producing an egg every 1 to 3 days.
Okay.
And so then it goes to like 1 every 6 days, and so they're not as efficient at making money, and so then they'll send them to homesteaders because a homesteader may not need 100 eggs a day. Yeah. So which we consume 3 eggs a day. And so the rotation I found is having 6 to 8 chickens in the mix. You can get a pretty good. We haven't had to buy eggs in a long time.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yep.
Now you got to get a dairy cow next.
Yep. Well, it's ironic. So I pulled a permit the other day to see what animals can I have in my backyard until I get the piece of land that we're looking for next spring. And in Wichita, you can, as long as, well, HOAs dictate, but you
Yeah,
can like you can get a goat, you can get a cow. Like
that's
there's just a
cool.
permit. You can't exceed 3 species. That's the only thing.
Okay,
If you have more than 3 species in your backyard in the city limits of Wichita, for some reason that's the
that's
magic
weird.
number. Yep.
I guess I don't know. I guess I have to make a determination somewhere. They don't want a
Yep.
zoo back there.
Yep. Well, with that, I know we're coming up close to our time, but I wanted to say thank you again
Yeah,
for coming and doing this. I've
thanks for
really
having me.
enjoyed it. We'll have to do it again. Um, but before we leave, and I kind of prepped you for this,
Oh,
but
is this the dad joke?
this is the dad joke.
I forgot to think. Of something.
I'll give you a second. I'm going to give you my 3 biggest takeaways while you think of
Okay.
your best dad joke.
Okay.
So my 3 biggest takeaways from today are, don't focus on where you started. Focus on your mountaintop and how you get to the next point. The second one is find joy in what you do, and I think that's easy and hard to do, but I think your perspective when you're finding joy in what you do uh, is your perspective. If you focus on the negative, you're always going to focus on the negative. And so if you can reframe and find the joy in what you do in the moment, you can do that. And that leads to you finding joy in what you do every single day, which is where
Mm-hmm.
you've gotten to. And then the third thing is buy land and get chickens and put a game in your app. So did that buy you enough time to think of a dad joke?
I think I got one.
Yeah.
I don't know how dad joke is. I feel like I need more years on me to get really
Yeah.
good dad jokes. But you might know this one. We'll see. What's black and white and red all over?
Oh, it's a newspaper.
No,
No?
no, I'm just kidding. It's not his favorite.
So ironically, so it's in the corner over there. My son found everyone buys me dad joke books
Oh,
for
nice.
holidays, and so I have
I
dad
need one
joke
of those, I
books.
guess.
I'll give it to you. And he read me one that was slightly inappropriate for him, but he can't read fully yet, and he spelled it out to me. But I'll say it here. He said, "How do you make holy water?
Oh,
You boil the hell out of it." So,
that's funny.
yeah. And so with that, thank you guys for joining us. We hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Before we leave, and because you stayed to the end, we're actually going to give away 5 annual subscriptions to Lawn Buddy. So 3 of them, if you're watching this video, anyone, and this is all thanks to Spencer and our idea to give back to you during the holidays. 3 of them are your new customers. So anyone who subscribes to a Lawn Buddy package from this video up until the second week in December, we're actually going to draw randomly 3 subscribers and give them our exclusive package annual for free. And then to give back to our existing users who watch us all the time, same thing is we're going to randomly pick any of you that are in a pro or exclusive package, give away 1 pro annual package and give away 1 exclusive annual package. And that's just a little way we can give back, like you give back to the community every single day. So
Someone's gonna get a cool little Christmas present.
yep. Maybe we'll get an SB sticker and we'll throw it in there with them.
Well, let's do it. Let's do it.
But thank you again, dude. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Steven.